Hey, it is Ryan Seacrest. There's something so thrilling about playing Chumba Casino. Maybe it's the simple reminder that with a little luck, anything is possible. ChumbaCasino.com has hundreds of social casino-style games to choose from with new game releases each week. Play for free anytime, anywhere for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, CEO and founder of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, and award-winning author. And welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have special guest serial entrepreneur, Chad Price. While working as a gas controller in corporate America for TransCanada in Houston, he discovered that corporate America wasn't sustainable for him long-term, and he wanted to start his own business. Seeing the inner workings of a large corporation gave him the impetus to start his own e-commerce focused business. Along with two partners, they narrowed down their product list and settled on kettlebells. At the time, it wasn't a known space, but was a growing market. He desired to build kettlebells as the centerpiece of a health and wellness community, then started the first BIPOC-owned kettlebell company, Kettlebell Kings, which is like the ESPN of the kettlebell world, a place to foster a community of people using kettlebells as the centerpiece of fitness, take everyone's content alongside the uniquely created content and display it in a way that's easy for people to consume and feel a part of a community. In business, he can be as competitive as he wants and not worry like he did on the sports field when he was at Rice University. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Mr. Chad Price. Hey, Chad, how are you?
I'm doing great today. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. And like I said earlier, we talked for a few minutes. I'm excited to have you on because this is a uniquely topic for this show, but at the same time, it's still focused on business. But to talk about kettlebells, it's actually one of the things I enjoy doing when I'm working out. So I'm really interested to learn more and about some of your programs and how you got to this point. But before we get started, Chad, could you please tell everybody a little bit more about who Chad Price really is?
Sure. I see myself as, I think you described me as a serial entrepreneur. I see myself as a creator. Early in my life, I was super competitive, played sports pretty much in every sport you can think of growing up. And that led me to Rice University scholarship where I played sports there. And, since I've graduated, I've tried to just create businesses and or work for companies that, I believe in and that I think support positive initiatives. And for me, starting my own business was a culmination of me having kind of worked for other companies that I respected and then having an opportunity to build my own team and kind of see if I can do it on my own.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you talked about that, you say you're kind of a serial entrepreneur, but you're more of a creator. Talk a little bit about those other businesses and how you jumped from, obviously you're going through college and everything, but you jumped out of college, you went into school or went into work into another corporate entity that didn't like it and all that. So talk a little bit about that journey.
Sure. I mean, when I first graduated, I started working in basically just sales jobs. And I think anybody that works in like outdoor sales, especially, entry level positions, you kind of get put through the ringer early and you find out that the real world can be hard and harsh. So, I worked in a job where you had to hit 150 doors a day and, make calls and, you were told no 99.9% of the time. And I think that kind of stuff hardens you though. I think it puts the right perspective on how hard it is to run a business, to sell a product, to appeal to, different people and different demographics when you're trying to sell something that could potentially be universally needed. So that led me to construction, where, you know, I was a project manager there, and I really love construction. To this day, if I had to pick a favorite job, it'd definitely be my construction job, just because you're always completing a new project. You know, you're working on with your hands. You're working with other people who are also working with their hands, and so you get a sense of satisfaction of not only the personal touch that you get to kind of put on every single project, but you actually come to a completion and you can stand back and look at stuff. But that led to me not really having enough money, if you will, and I ended up getting a better job at TransCanada.
Okay.
You know, so, you know, being from Texas, traditional oil and gas is going to be the big thing here.
Right.
That's where a lot of the money is. So that experience really gave me the opportunity to work downtown Houston, you know, see what corporate America was really like on a larger scale. You know, you're talking about $1 billion company, and not just see the inner workings of a company like that, but really just get the corporate America experience. And so it's not necessarily that I hated the corporate America experience. For me and my personal aspirations, I was looking for something to be a lot more competitive. And that to me was a lot more networking. It was a lot more of a social challenge, if you will, than actually operationally competitive. And I think that's what I've always liked to do is, you know, I like to say, you know, it's going to be hard to do this. Can you find 10 to 100 people and put that team together and get this done? Like that's my type of objective. So that just really led me to my entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And I like your story. I like how you talk about the fact that coming out of college, you know, and I think we all go through this process that, hey, you know, I'm grown now. I get to go out here and do my own thing. And then you realize being grown is not exactly what everybody's telling you, right?
Yep. You learn early.
Exactly. But that's a great thing to understand. I think that's a opening thing, you know, for your eyes to see and to get and dig into it, because a lot of times, you know, these young folks, we all wanted to grow up fast, you know, but not understanding the reality of what the real world really looks like. You dove into it pretty deep. You know, when you're talking about sales and having to knock on a lot of doors, not everybody goes that direction, but it really gave you an eye opener. It really gave you an understanding that, you know what, this is not what I want to do today. This is not how I want to make my living. But you realize there was something much more deep inside of you. And then going into the project level management, you know, the project management is still today a huge thing, and it comes across all, you know, all levels of businesses. And I myself have been a project manager for many years. And I love what you said about the fact that how, as a project manager, you get to see that project from the beginning to the middle to the end. So you can really truly understand what works, how that money works for it, you know, the people you may have to put together in order to complete that project. All those little things that you learn along the way. And then here you hit corporate. Definitely a different world, right? Between the two other things that you were doing, but then all of it made sense as you decided that you wanted to start your own business. So what was the first business that you actually created before you got into kettlebells?
I actually started two businesses at the same time. So no one usually believes me when I say this, because, you know, I play football, but I started a nail salon with my girlfriend at the same time that I started Kettlebell Kings. Oh, wow. And my logic behind that was, you know, I knew Kettlebell Kings was going to be an online company. You know, we wanted to build an online community. We never really wanted to have a retail space or a retail front. And the main goal was to kind of build a brand and build an online community. But that wasn't going to bring any cash in day one through, you know, day 300, if you will. Right. And so I had done a lot of research and reading on what types of businesses do bring in immediate cash and are cash flow positive pretty early. And coincidentally, my girlfriend was actually very creative, and she liked doing nails and kind of was doing it as a side hobby for herself already. And so we decided to turn that into a business at the same time. So while she went and got her official license to be able to do nails, I had used my construction background and did the complete build out of the salon. So, you know, we took a brand new space and renovated it into a salon. And I had my dad and the same construction background team that had helped me before and come down and helped me do all that. And so I really jumped into entrepreneurship with both feet at the same time by starting a nail salon and Kettlebell Kings in the exact same period.
Yeah, you did, but you're right. The two separate entities, but your thought process is excellent. The thing I love that you said, you researched, you understood that being in the online business, you're not going to get that return on the investment right away. You had to find something else that was going to bring that money in. And it wasn't in your back of your mind that, look, I'm not going to be running around here working for another company, another job just to build this, but to realize that both of you guys could sit down and have that conversation of what was going to work and what wasn't work. That is what probably is the most important part about this whole conversation we're having now is communication, doing the research, knowing who your target audience is, knowing what you need to do in order to build so that the other business can build it's the slow way that it needs to, so it can be, like you said, that community that you wanted to have. So do you still have the nail shop that you and your girlfriend have built? And then we'll talk a little bit more about kettlebells here in a second. So talk a little bit more about the nail shop.
We actually shut it down. We were open for 8 years, and it was very successful. It was one of the best nail salons in Austin. Mm-hmm. We did creative nail art and things like that. So we tried to still instill a competitive atmosphere, even at a nail salon, in terms of the level or the quality of the work we would do. But COVID kind of brought out different circumstances for everybody, and so going through COVID, that shut us down for about 6 to 8 months, and coming back out of that would have just been it would have been a very difficult challenge, especially at that time with everything that was kind of unforeseen. Right. And so the right business decision at that time was to get out of our lease, and unfortunately that kind of meant we had to shut it down. And as we progressed with the other companies that I started, we just realized that we could kind of shift those efforts or resources to some of the other things that were a little more lucrative, if you will.
Right. So have you had any other businesses with kettlebells or on the side of kettlebells or behind it? Have you been doing anything else besides kettlebells now that you no longer have the nail shop?
Yeah, actually my latest is my company Life Grows Green, which is basically a natural product and a natural, it's a lifestyle brand like a lot of my companies. I didn't realize at the time when I was starting my businesses that I was, a lifestyle brand creator. But now I think I've noticed that over my career that I really try to focus on building a lifestyle and a brand no matter what I'm doing. And so this one is really a lifestyle brand around natural products. And, during my journey with Kettlebell Kings, getting to see so many different people's health and wellness journeys and the different types of tools and solutions that they will kind of use or trying to go after to achieve their goals. I really wanted to find something or a community that could supplement some of the digestible products and some of the products that people put, in and on themselves. Right. I think there's a lot of just ignorance and, frankly, kind of misleading information, especially about corporations when it comes to a lot of those topics. And so I even with kettlebells, I wanted to have kind of a pure community that was for kettlebell enthusiasts and not there for any type of negativity, but just there to support positive change in the world. I look at this company as doing a similar thing, but around natural products. So, we're going to have CBD products, we're going to have hemp products, we're going to have, supplements, topicals, sports creams, different things, anything that you can kind of think of that will supplement your health and wellness journey. In today's time, I think it's more important that you trust the company, that you can trust the community and kind of trust that the overall goal or the concept that everyone's there for is kept consistent. And that's what I try to build inside the communities, is a consistent, positive concept of information, not really a judgment, a place that tells you, hey, you shouldn't take your medicine that the doctor told you to take, but a place where you can learn and gather more information and trust that we're also doing that research for you and providing that information in a, morally responsible way as well.
So let me ask you, there are like you said earlier, there are definitely a lot of supplements that are out there, and you're building one that's, more natural and supposed to be better. My biggest question has always been in the back of my head, and even some of the products I've ever tried, what happens to people when they stop utilizing those products? How does it really truly affect the body, and is it beneficial to stay on them? What if they can't afford to stay on them? How do you help them move forward in that, arena? I mean, it's like, there's, like I said, there's so many different things out there, and everybody is always trying something because they want to do better. And sometimes it's very hard, but then also it may not be affordable. And then even if they can't afford it, or they just, don't want to take it anymore, what happens to the body afterwards?
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the issues that you have with a lot of people is, when you're taking natural supplements, I don't mean like creatine and, some of these like pre-workouts and things like that. I mean, things that are just purely natural as possible. So when you talk about like, let's say plant protein powder, plant protein powder will not be, as much protein per gram as animal-based protein powder. Right. But it still can provide you protein, and it still has other nutritional benefits to it. The more natural you go, the less side effects you have from everything. So right. I think one of the things we don't realize is how many of the side effects we're actually suffering from when we're taking things is
how to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, "Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody." Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
So that, that dread or that withdrawal that you have a lot of times, that fear, is usually from it not being as natural as it could be. If it was just a completely unprocessed natural product, it's going to have way less side effects. Not saying that natural products don't have any side effects, but the level of intensity is dramatically decreased when you're talking about a natural product. So I don't even want to have someone that has to get to a point where they take something that they feel uncomfortable stopping to take, or even from an affordability standpoint, our goal is to provide it naturally and to source it as cheap as possible. It's not to say, I have a patented formula that you need to pay tenfold for. And I think when you start going that route and you start thinking that because it's expensive, it's going to work, or because they said they have some specific formula, it's going to work. It's like these types of, I think, thoughts are what hurt people more in that regard than just the withdrawal of trying to take something as natural as possible, if that makes sense.
No, you're absolutely right. That's kind of my thought process. And I think when I think about organic vegetables, I'm like, okay, organic vegetables. When I was growing up, there was no such thing as organic vegetables. They were all came from the ground. Everything was great. You didn't have to worry about whether you're, having something that is not good for you or something is good. And it just drives me nuts, to think that I've got to go to the grocery store and spend double for something that's organic because you've got the other side where you got all these extra pesticides or whatever they're putting on our vegetables that we don't know what we're putting in our mouths anymore. So so when you start to hear the word natural and the word organic, it really does scare people because they all first think about the money. Even if they know it's better for them and it's healthy for them, it really does truly sometimes get down to affordability. So I'm glad that you said, hey, this is not what we don't want to be that company. We don't want to make people feel like that, hey, this is the most expensive thing and you got to have this. And if you're not putting this in your body, something's going to happen. And that's usually what happens to people. We all know that it takes one person to say, this is the best product, out here and you need to have it now. But it usually has some type of cost to it. And then people start taking it, but then it gets to the point where it's like, hey, can I afford to continue to do this? So there's other ways that people need to learn how to maintain doing all natural and, by obviously having the supplements, but being able to also learn how to eat properly and all those other things that come with it. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing the right thing, because it needs to be done to where, like I said, people are comfortable and they understand what they're getting themselves into. So that's a good thing. And so that leads me into, let's talk about kettlebells. Tell me more about the business kettlebells. Or should I say, tell the listeners more about it? I've done my research, but I definitely think that they would love to hear more about it.
Sure. That's I started that company in 2012 with two friends from college, basically. We had a vision to start some type of e-commerce brand, and we decided on kettlebells because not only did it, at the time, it kind of fit the e-commerce vision that we have for building the online community. But then we also were transitioning out of competitive sports, if you will, and trying to figure out what our own personal health and wellness journeys look like. So, for me, I didn't really like going to like traditional gyms when I first stopped playing competitively. It didn't feel like a workout to me. It felt more like a social scene, and the intensity was not what I wanted it to be, if you will, especially not in the places that I could afford when I graduated from college. So that led me to a lot of home workouts, kind of private, outdoor fitness type of workouts for myself. And I found kettlebells during that journey. And pretty quickly, I realized that there's a lot of benefit to me lifting this that I even missed out on during my competitive career. So,
wow.
I noticed some of the functionality of my just movements improve because I was using it in more dynamic motions versus some of the static things that I was used to before. I think it translates to athletics and to functional fitness as well. But, I don't think that you have to necessarily box yourself in. I think you can supplement this in or use it as a main tool as you see fit, basically.
Right. But, it amazes me. There's a lot of people don't know anything about kettlebells. So can you kind of give a better description of what a kettlebell looks like and what is its real purpose for the body? Because I definitely use it, and I know it's a huge difference versus, lifting the dumbbell, or and using it in that format. So it is definitely something that's unique, but there are many people who do not understand what a kettlebell truly is and how beneficial it can be for your body. Can you dive in just a little deeper for me?
Sure, no problem. A lot of people like to, there's arguments about who invented the first kettlebell. So, you'll have people say that the kettlebell is a Russian tool. Have people in India say that it's from India. But essentially, the first kettlebell was a hole drilled into a rock that someone picked up to be heavy. These types of tools were used for multiple purposes around multiple cultures for thousands of years. As we have, fostered fitness and tried to turn them into more as a official fitness tool, they are mainly used, and I should say they were mainly used in Russia and India and other places like that. Okay. But in 2012, the popularity grew quite a bit. And so if you're visualizing it, it's basically a cannonball with a horseshoe on top. So it allows you to have quite a bit of weight at the bottom, and then the handle is also weighted as well. And you're talking about, a good kettlebell is going to be a single casted one piece of equipment. But the main benefits of it is going to be because it's not completely symmetrical on both sides of your hand like a dumbbell or a barbell would, or both sides of your body. The movements of it are going to require you to use those stabilizing muscles quite a bit more than you ever would with a dumbbell. And not only that, we don't really realize how much we use momentum and things like that in our traditional movements, the way we move around the earth and the way we just navigate our surroundings. So the way a kettlebell is, the way I like to explain it to somebody is you never picked up a grocery bag that felt like a dumbbell. But there's plenty of grocery bags that you can pick up that feels like, oh, that's like a light kettlebell.
Right.
And it's because all the weight sinks to the bottom, and it's really a more true feeling of what it would feel like to carry something heavy in a sack or something that we would naturally carry. So the benefits that you get from that is when you're actually lifting with heavier weight and doing those movements, and it's kind of the weight is spread out ergonomically in that same pattern as you would naturally see in your natural environment, you're going to see the benefits quite a bit more. So
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody. Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I use grocery bags because that's probably the biggest example or the biggest thing that people notice when they start lifting kettlebells. They're like, hey, I can bring all the groceries in with no problem. And it used to be an issue. Or I can carry 2 or 3 gallons of water now with one hand, and it used to be an issue. And it's those types of things that's a natural way that we would typically function if we weren't, so privileged to live in a modern society with the comforts that we have. But if we had to swing through trees and carry our food and carry our resources long ways back to where we came from, everything would kind of be shaped in that way where we'd be carrying it by some handle that would not quite be perfectly symmetrical, and that would be bottom heavy. And I think that's the main benefit you get from the kettlebells, having that ability to represent reality almost with a tool that is an increase in weight.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you're right. Kettlebells is definitely, it has its uniqueness. And when you look at one, you think, oh, this is no big deal. But when you start to actually work with it, I'm like, oh, this is definitely doing something, but most people don't look at it in that manner until you really, truly do get involved in using the kettlebell. And you're right. It does make me feel very different, but I feel more balanced. I feel like, I'm actually getting a much better workout that makes me feel comfortable, I guess you could say, versus, I still do the dumbbells and so forth, but it is definitely a difference there. And I actually have learned to enjoy the kettlebells more than I have actually doing with the actual dumbbells themselves. Because at first I was like, I don't want to do this. Because my son is a trainer too. So he was like, you're going to do this kettlebell. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this kettlebell. And it took me a while to understand it. But, when you're talking about it, it makes more sense, because once you start to truly understand what their purpose is and then you're actually doing them, it all comes together. So talk about some of your programs that you have on e-commerce, or how people can, purchase these kettlebells, and what kind do you have for people to purchase on your site?
Sure. Basically I was saying earlier, and I didn't get to finish that part, and that's my fault, but I was saying that we started in 2012, and in 2021, we actually sold the company. And so right now I'm in the middle of a 3-year acquisition. So the company was sold in 2021, and we're about a year and a half into that deal. But the main way you can find it is basically through our online community. I think that's one of the areas that, I see myself as an expert in, and I try to build with every company that I'm associated with is building a community of people who might have different values and different upbringings and different philosophies on life, if you will, bringing all those people together for a common reason or a common theme. I really have kind of a personal passion for doing that. And so if you're looking online, you'll see the Kettlebell Kings YouTube community, you'll see the Kettlebell Kings social communities on, TikTok and Instagram, Facebook. All of those communities are going to be not just monitored and led by someone who has the vision for the company, but then it's also going to be the thought leaders in that space that we have worked with that want to be a part of that community. So we have always actively reached out to the thought leaders in the space. You quoted the term like the ESPN of the kettlebell world, where we want to have anyone that is competing at a high level or anyone putting out any content or information at a high level. We want to have that person have access to the largest audience as well. So we try to bridge those gaps and make those connections for the best of the community as a whole. At the end of the day, we look at the product and selling the product as an option for someone after they've joined the community, and rather than go after the hard sell kind of up front. I think the community is the way I like to kind of build my business models.
I like that. It's interesting. And that actually makes people feel more comfortable and wanting to try and to learn about the kettlebell instead of feeling like somebody's throwing it in their face and, well, you need to buy this now, type scenario. You took it away, the sales card mentality, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's really good. So it's great to hear that you are in the process of selling it and it's being sold. So that is a excellent thing. Congratulations to you on that. So what are you going to be doing new since you're moving forward?
I'm mainly working with Life Grows Green stuff. That's my new baby, if you will. But I also, I'm doing a lot of other things. So I've also started my consulting company. So I'm picking up consulting projects. I'm always open to consult on any real project. I still really kind of draw back on my project manager background, and I love working project to project. So if there's a project that I think is impactful, or I think that, even if it doesn't have overlap, if it's something that fits my area of expertise, I love seeing things come to fruition and help in any way I can. So really trying to kick those things off. I haven't really gotten a chance because I've been so focused on Kettlebell Kings, this kind of chapter of my life, that I'm really focused on, Life Grows Green and the consulting projects that I'm bringing on in these next year or two.
All right. Well, it sounds like you are going to constantly stay busy. And again, congratulations, because you've done quite well. And I'm sure you have a long way to go. And we can't wait to hear more about you in the future. But Chad, please, tell everybody where they can find you if they would like to learn more on the project management side or more about kettlebells or the new item you have with the new supplement that you're working on.
Sure. If you're looking to contact me, you can always find me on all social channels. I'm Chad Price, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Real Chad Price. And then if you're looking for supplements or any kind of natural lifestyle products, join the Life Grows Green community. That's Life Grows Green, and you can find us lifegrowsgreen.com, but we're on all social channels as well. And then for kettlebells, fitness equipment, that's kettlebellkings.com, and we're on all social channels there as well. And the one last thing that I'll mention is I will have my first book coming out late summer, so I'm not sure of the exact date. So I'm hesitant, but just to kind of give you an early precursor to the book coming out. It'll be coming out late summer, and that'll be my first book.
Well, congratulations. Always love to talk to the office, so I expect to hear from you again.
We'll do. I'll definitely send it over to you. We've been working. I just got off a call working on it today, so we're in the kind of the final stages of at least finalizing the cover and the title and things like that. So we'll have that done. I'll send that over to you once I have it. Right.
Oh, I love it. It's always great to hear somebody out there doing great things and telling their story. And that's what my show is about, is truly telling your story, because we all have a voice that wants to be heard, and your voice has definitely been heard tonight. Chad, I really appreciate you coming on and spending time with me tonight. It has been such a pleasure.
I appreciate you having me. It was very nice meeting you.
It's nice to meet you too. Well, you take care of yourself. And like I said, I can't wait to talk to you soon because I would definitely want to hear more about the book and want to hear more about your new supplement and all those other great things that you're doing because you are, sir, are definitely moving along. You are absolutely a serial entrepreneur. So there's always going to be something fresh to talk to you about. So like I said, thank you again for coming on the show tonight. And we look forward to talking to you soon. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Wow, what a show tonight. It has been fantastic being able to talk with Chad and learn about his businesses. He is an amazing young man. I'm just still sitting here thinking about all the things that he has developed and has encouraged throughout his short lifetime and has so much more left to do. But the key thing here is to understand that when you have dreams and you have abilities, everybody has the capability to get up and do something unique for themselves. Here is an individual who has taken everything that he has learned and he has moved it forward in so many different directions, but in a direction that's all about taking care of yourself, the health and wellness field, the better understanding of what fitness may look like. And fitness is not just in the body, it's also in the mind. So the key thing here, if you all have something that you are truly dreaming about, something you truly want to do, but you don't know how to get there, or if you have a project that you need to work on, as you heard, Chad Price loves his projects. So think about reaching out to him. Don't worry, we'll have all the show information in the show notes. He'll have all his information, all my information. We can definitely get you to him. But again, for those who are truly needing to want to have their voice heard, they're ready to make those next steps, you are more than welcome to please reach out to me at Kimberly@WSBILC@gmail.com and let's have that conversation. Let's talk about how we could turn those dreams into goals. And of course, if you want more of your resource for success, monetary donations to support the podcast are now accepted on Cash App, PayPal, Good Pods, Tip Jar, or you can go directly to the website at www.WSBILC.com. Again, we would like to thank you all for listening to us tonight. We'll be back next week with more amazing guests. And be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcast. And we also want to thank Listen Notes because they have made us put us at the top 10% of globally for all podcast shows. So please, let's give them a round of applause for what they're doing for us. But until then, you all enjoy the rest of your evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.WSBILLC.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.